Good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. This is timesofisrael.com, a peace plan update. Netanyahu says Trump peace plan will be released immediately after the elections. This is kind of the latest news. Trump was teasing that it may be released before the September 17th elections, and I think he's doing that to keep it in the news, keep the media buzzing about it. I think it's all part of a larger play by him. And I think some of the proof of that is in this article, actually. And so the latest news is that it's going to come immediately after the election. So will it? Will it not? At this point, I'm betting it will not. I guess it depends what immediately after means. Netanyahu said Tuesday that Donald Trump's peace plan will be released immediately after Israel's elections later this month, September 17th. That's 10 days away. Netanyahu made the remark at a campaign event. So note that he's making this remark at a campaign event. And he says, who do you want to be dealing with talks over the deal of the century, which will be coming in just a bit, immediately after the election? So he is using this really to, it looks like, further his campaign and putting it out to the voters saying, do you want me to be in power to deal with, to manage, to go ahead with this peace plan, or to look at it and be the leader in Israel for this revealing of the peace plan? Or do you want, the other parties? And so it seems like he's using this as part of his a re-election campaign. And it was speculated before that Trump would use this to get Netanyahu reelected. So this is interesting, and everybody's going to use it to their advantage. Certainly, that's kind of the name of the game in politics. Everybody's going to use it to their advantage. Trump's using it to his advantage. Netanyahu's going to use it according to his advantage, and Trump wants to deal with Netanyahu. Netanyahu's a known person, a known politician, who at least has come out and said, we are willing to take a look at this and read this, and so they're not rejecting it. He said, or the article says, he did not give a specific date for the release of the long-delayed proposal, and that's an understatement. Last Wednesday, U.S. Special Envoy Greenblatt tweeted that Trump had decided against releasing the plan until after the elections, after Trump appeared to toy with the idea of rolling it out before September 17th. I feel like Trump, Kushner, I think they're waiting for a time when there's no other big world events, so that all the focus can be on the deal of the century, so that they have, in their eyes, the best setup, the most attention to really push this forward and to really get the world on board with this. I think that's a big part of it, and that will be a big part of it. When the covenant is confirmed with the many for 1 week, I think the whole world will be on board with this, and it's going to take a one world politician, one world leader, someone who is alive and well today, who is a politician, probably in Europe or the Middle East somewhere, and that person will rise to power and will be the one that confirms a covenant with the many. Will this deal of the century be that deal? I think the biggest reason why I think it could be that deal is because we're getting very close in terms of time. We're getting very low on time. There's not another 20 years left in this world for this to occur. I don't think Israel goes on for another 20, 30 years without a major war and conflict in the region. Let's continue on here. It says, at the campaign event last week, Netanyahu said that the administration peace deal will be presented to the world after the election. I believe it will likely be very soon after the election, he says. Last month, Trump was asked by reporters at the G7 whether he planned to introduce the political portion of the administration's peace plan before Israeli elections. He first said, no, of course not. But moments later he added, but I think you may see what the deal is before the election, sparking confusion. And then, of course, Greenblatt came out shortly after that and said, well, no, we're actually not going to release it. So there you go. That's kind of the latest update. Now this is coming after the elections. Netanyahu is speculating immediately after the elections. And now we have this departure from Jason Greenblatt. He has now left, and so Kushner needs another partner in this to really push this forward. So, as always, we sit and wait. God has certain timing. And the reason all these things are delayed is because we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but God has a specific timing, and his timing is perfect. And so all these things will happen at the right time, in the correct order. And I think all these things will really come down very fast. We'll have economic collapse, then maybe within a week we'll have wars, and significant wars, rumors of wars, and maybe the Ezekiel 38 and Isaiah 17 wars. And I think we'll have, with that economic collapse, we're going to have the mark of the beast system coming into effect. We're going to have a one world government being set up to deal with the economic collapse in the world. And so all these things, all this is going to transpire, I think, over a very short period of time. Remember that the original, the feasts, first four fulfilled by Jesus, were all performed within a matter of days and weeks, all in quick succession. It did not stretch out over 10 years or 5 years or 2 years or 1 year even. It all happened in quick succession according to the feasts as fulfilled by Jesus. So it makes sense that if those happened in real time, in quick succession, according to the feasts, then it makes sense that he's going to fulfill the last three in quick succession according to the feasts as well, if the pattern holds true. So I think it's all going to come down very quickly. A little bit of an update here about Gaza. So the IDF has shelled Hamas post after drone drops IED on troops. The IDF attacked 5 Hamas posts after rocket fire Friday. 2 Palestinian teens killed in border protests. The IDF struck a cell in southern Gaza after a drone dropped an IED on military position along the border fence. No IDF troops were injured. There was slight damage to military vehicles. Now, this is a Twitter post. Picture of IDF vehicle that was targeted by a drone. So they're putting bombs on the bottom of drones, flying them over. This is the new thing. Before they were doing, helium-filled balloons, incendiary floating devices, and dropping those on dry fields and causing fires. And now they're strapping bombs to the bottom of drones and dropping those IEDs on IDF positions. So on this, I'll put the links in the description, but on this this is an image of a Hummer. You can see the tires are flat. There's liquids coming out of the bottom of it. So that was hit. And then there's a video here as well on Twitter. I don't know if this will play or not. So Humvee struck by an IED, flown over by a drone, which is kind of the new tactic that they're making use of. Incident came at hours after IDF struck several Hamas positions, northern Gaza Strip on Friday night in retaliation for 5 rockets that were fired towards southern Israel. Military said an IDF tank shelled a Hamas outpost north of Bet Hanun, and an IAF drone struck a Hamas observation point near Bet Lahia. The strike comes shortly after incoming sirens were activated in the college town of Sderot and communities of Ibn and Kibbutz or Haner. While there were no injuries, 2 women were treated for shock, it says. And so there's still a lot going on. You don't even hear of these stories on the mainstream media. This is just a daily event, this fighting. And this is a constant fear and threat, really, to Israeli public. These rockets continue to fly every day. And this warfare goes on. But you talk about, if you lived in Israel, wars and rumors of wars would be the buzzword pretty much every day. And so you would really understand what that means. Of course, us in Western society, we live in a relative peace and security, and we're kind of insulated to the events of the world, what's happening in the rest of the world. And certainly if you were living in Israel, you would know every day what the threats were, and you would be bombarded by them and surrounded by them daily. So a lot of stuff happening in Israel, which is the focus point, which is the burdensome stone. Jerusalem is a burdensome stone, the Bible says, of the whole world. And the whole world is going to be drunk with the obsession of Jerusalem and Israel and what to do about it. And who has religious rights to the Temple Mount, etc., etc. So a lot of things happening, guys. Thanks for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video. I will try and get some updates to you about the hurricane as long as I have power. I expect to have a power outage. I don't expect there to be any massive damage. I would certainly expect a fair power outage. If we don't get a power outage, I'd be very surprised. It's going to be one of the strongest in years to hit us in terms of storms. It is now forecast to hit as a Category 1 storm in Nova Scotia, and then weakening from there. So we'll see what happens from here on. And I'll try to get you maybe some update videos just for interest's sake about what the weather looks like here, the calm before the storm. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.